likely doing the following Monday, just once we get a little more clarity on our schedule moving forward. Start with an opening statement from Coach, then go into questions. Coach?
Really excited about the opportunities ahead of this team. Obviously, Saturday was an incredible opportunity for our guys to, send the old Ryan Field off the right way, and the opportunity to secure, become bowl eligible is something that, I know all of us within the program are really proud of. That being said, it's very clear from our leadership, from our team, from myself, from our coaching staff that, we still have a lot of work to do and a lot of exciting opportunities ahead of us. Starting with an opportunity to get on the road in a rivalry game. In a rivalry game that we've fallen short in the last couple opportunities, and a team that when we reflect on our performance on Saturday, we know that there's a lot of things that we got to clean up, and didn't play our best football on Saturday, and that's what an incredible opportunity to come away with a win, to know that there's still a lot of things that we need to improve upon, and having the opportunity to be back to work and evaluate the film this morning and back at practice this afternoon is something that this group is really excited for. So with that said, we're rolling, we're excited, and know that we got quite a challenge on our hands with a really good Illinois team that's fighting for their own bowl eligibility and in a big time rivalry game.
Coach, now that you're the permanent head coach, in the long term it's your staff to add or make changes to. Do you plan to assess your staff after Illinois or after the bowl game, and are there any areas you're specifically looking to address?
The specific areas we're looking at right now are positions that are currently open, Matt. Within the transition there were some support staff positions that either weren't filled or just due to the uncertainty of the entire program at the time, some people that took other opportunities. Those are things that we're taking a look at right now to make sure that we can continue to push the program forward. In terms of other decisions, we got too much at stake with this group, and we're just really focused on making sure that we're putting ourselves in a situation to be at our best for Illinois.
So do you anticipate making those decisions after Illinois or after a bowl game?
Those conversations and that thought process will start after Illinois, but also being very conscious of making sure that we're doing a great job of staying present and being at our best for whatever bowl opportunity awaits us.
Coach, on that same kind of vein, now as the permanent head coach, how has your conversations changed with recruits? We saw a lot of them on the sidelines on Saturday about this is now your program and your message and your vision for the future here at Northwestern.
It changes from a standpoint of you get less questions, right? And that's great. There's a certain level of certainty in terms of the fact that you make a decision to come to Northwestern. I can look a young man and his family in the eye and say, hey, I'm going to be here for that. But in terms of the messaging and what we have to offer here at Northwestern, so much of that stays the same. We had a young man verbally commit to us this weekend, which was really exciting, and a lot of things that I was talking about with recruits even prior to the opportunity to become the permanent head coach. I mean, a lot of the messaging is still the same, and I think that speaks volumes to what this place stands for, the values within the university and the football program. There's a lot of young men out there that understand what an incredible opportunity is to play football in the Big Ten and to get a Northwestern degree.
Just to follow up on that, you've only had 10 commitments so far in this class. How many more do you expect to bring in, and what's the number of target you're kind of looking to hit for the class of 2024, I guess?
Yeah, it's unique with roster management right now, as everyone in the room knows. With still having guys on the roster that have a COVID year, it's unique. But looking at that right now, we probably have room for 2 more commitments in the class as it looks on paper, and just got to continue to bend our knees and stay flexible in terms of how this continues to push forward and some of the decisions that our upperclassmen make in terms of their remaining eligibility. But we're really excited about where we're at with this class. where it ranks on paper, we don't know, and nor do we care. We're excited about the character, the work ethic, the competitive spirit that these guys possess, and the growth potential and development potential that they have.
Dave?
You're coming into a rivalry game in a series that has a long history. You're new to it, but what have you heard from your players, your coaches, and what do you expect?
Yeah, it's been a great learning opportunity for me to ask the staff, to ask our leadership council this morning what this rivalry means to them, and the consistent message is, Coach, we want the hat back. It's time to bring the hat back, and just to see and feel and sense the urgency that's within this group right now to ensure that we're at our best today for a Monday practice, to make sure we're taking the steps necessary to be at our best on Saturday. One of the many things that makes college football so special, but rivalry week is something that this group is certainly amped up for.
You ever see the hat?
I mean in pictures, but not in person. And there's just something about rivalry games, and especially when you're playing for a trophy. A time at North Dakota State playing for the Dakota marker. I mean those games are just things that stay with you as a player and as a coach, and you can certainly sense within this group, especially with the upperclassmen, they want to make sure they continue to communicate how important it is to the young guys within this program about how our preparation this week is critical.
Can I ask you what the Dakota marker is?
Yeah, North Dakota State, South Dakota State. It's basically a really, really heavy rock, and you better be prepped up in the weight room to lift that thing over your head. But no, it's again, it just for me, it's been neat these last 24 hours just to ask guys like Tim McGargle, other guys on the staff that have been here, and in our current leadership and upperclassmen, what it means to them, and continue to educate myself on what it's all about and what it's going to require for us to be successful.
Coach, on that note, there are some pictures of players way back in Northwestern history holding the hat up above their head, and it looks like it's going to crash down on them, but it's a good picture. Will you be attempting that if the Cats win on Saturday?
Oh my gosh, I'll worry about that if we're fortunate enough to be victorious. But no, those are moments you got to celebrate, and like I said, you better stay prepped up in the weight room and make sure you're ready for that moment.
Coach, I'd like to take you back to the Rutgers game. You got thrown into the fire pretty quickly. I mean, it's a conference game on the road, 100 degrees. I mean, both teams were trying to get their first win in the Big Ten. No warm up here. This is pretty serious stuff. Where were you in your organizational where were you and where are you now? I mean, is it been a steady climb up? I know there's been a few bumps along, but from you being crickets, the new head coach, first game, trying to get your arms around everything, and where are you now in your comfort zone?
Yeah, it's a great question, Ted. I think I've always felt comfortable from a standpoint of, being with our players, stepping into a leadership role, trying to bring people together and pull the best out of this group and lead from a position of just serving the group. That's something that hasn't changed, that stayed consistent. But from a day-to-day operations and recruiting and organization and just, nutrition for our guys. I mean, all these things that come into play as a head coach. Very fortunate to have an incredible support staff, here that does such an incredible job with that. And where I think I've really grown is just, understanding where I need to delegate responsibility, not try and micromanage. And where that's really embodied is just in our defensive prep on the defensive side of the ball. There's certain ways that I've gone about it over the years as a defensive coordinator. And probably in that week one, I was trying to do it like I had always done it. And quickly realized you can't do that. Not with the other responsibilities that are falling that are on my plate right now. And it's just really a credit to that defensive staff in terms of the way that we've kind of caught a rhythm and delegated responsibility. Guys have taken ownership in those responsibilities and the efficiency that we're clicking at on that side of the ball, just in terms of our weekly prep and game planning, is a credit to that staff, that group of men, and you know, that's where I feel like I've had my most dramatic growth, is just balancing that along with all the other responsibilities that come along with the role as head coach.
David, back to the rivalry. I want to know what your disposition is toward what a rivalry should be, how much it can help. You know, there obviously are epic rivalries in college football, some that benefit because the teams tend to be good. They both tend to be good at the same time. There are others that tend to be big deals regardless, and others that are going away, Bedlam and all that.
Yeah.
Illinois Northwestern seems to me, you know, there's lip service paid to it. A former Illinois coach used to try to call Northwestern that team up north. Kind of fell flat, as my opinion. But what is your disposition toward what the rivalry would be, you know, at its best, and how it actually might help if it kind of amped up?
At its best, you have two programs that are winning a lot of football games, that have a lot that have great stories to tell. You know, not only to their own teams, but also on the recruiting trail. You know, I give Coach Bielema and his staff a lot of credit. I think they've made a commitment to recruiting the state of Illinois in the Chicagoland area. And, you know, we've experienced it even in this last recruiting cycle. You know, if you want to, you know, beat an in-state rival on some of those recruits, you better be putting some good things, you know, on tape on Saturdays and find a way. You know, we've talked about leaving no doubt and being really proud of the way that we finished this regular season, and this is an opportunity to do that. It's an opportunity for us to finish off the regular season the way that we set out to be really proud of the way that we're playing at the end of the season. And this team has found ways to consistently improve over the course of the season. We need to do that again this week, be at our best, and again, there's incredible motivation for us to bring that trophy back to Evanston.
Coach, on Saturday you all faced a very strong rushing attack in Purdue, and of course it was unexpected with Braun starting. Like, how do you learn from that experience and just prepare for that unexpectation at times when we're against so strong?
Yeah, you know, in some ways we're dealing with a similar set of circumstances from a standpoint of Illinois having, you know, two very talented quarterbacks that have played, you know, at times at a really, really high level and both bring a really good skill set, a little bit different skill set, but that can create some issues in your preparation when you're uncertain of, will you see one or the other, will you see both? And you have to be really honest with yourself on what Purdue was successful with and making sure that you're addressing some of those issues and concerns. So, some of those come back to just playing with better fundamentals, better tackling, better leverage. But some of them you got to really tip your hat to Purdue and the things that they were able to attack with a quarterback that had the ability to carry the football, whether that be in draw scenarios or design quarterback run game, and understand that, you know, Illinois is a really well-coached team that's going to see that on film and find ways to check us and test us in those areas.
Coach, against Purdue, you guys gave up, I think it was 400 plus total yards, 300 on the ground, but you still held Purdue to 15 points. I know post-game you lauded the effort of the team to get off the field, but how would you collectively evaluate that level of defensive play, and would you say that's sustainable to give up a lot of yards but not a lot of points? Yeah,
we did not play at our best. And again, a credit to Purdue. They did a great job. They had a really good plan. We have to play better. I will continue to praise our guys. You know, sometimes in modern college football, people get really tied up in the stats of yards. At the end of the day, the only stat that matters to us is the win or the loss. You know, in modern offense, good offenses are going to find ways to move the football. We got to find ways to just limit our exposure to points. If they're going to go for it on fourth down, we got to get off the field on fourth down. We got to hold teams to field goals. But for us to think that we don't need to improve dramatically in some areas moving into this week, we'd be kidding ourselves. We got to be honest with ourselves, take 100% responsibility, and we got to be better this Saturday on defense.
Coach, Carmine Bastoni is a player who you've praised as embodying the real spirit of this team, of Northwestern as a whole. This past weekend, he got his first career sack, had 2 tackles for a loss. What does it mean to you to have a player like that make such an impact on the defensive side of the ball?
Gosh, I'm just really proud of Carm. I'm proud of the way this program operates, the way that everyone within our program values guys that come here as walk-ons and find ways to earn opportunities. And for him just to continue to improve, and not only improve but produce, all you have to do is come out to a practice and see the way that guy works and the energy that he brings. It's no surprise. A couple years ago, would you have said that it would be unlikely that he'd be having this type of impact on our program? I don't know, maybe. But you see that guy go to work every day. It's no surprise that he's producing on Saturdays the way that he is.
Coach, it's all well known that the guys in the trenches normally make the best holiday meal plates. So I gotta know from you, what is your go-to Thanksgiving plate?
I don't think I've met a food on Thanksgiving that I didn't like. The hard part is how you fit it all on one plate. So I am definitely a sucker for some good mashed potatoes and gravy, turkey stuffing, and don't count out the dessert. I've never met a dessert, a pumpkin pie or a pecan pie that I didn't enjoy. So I'll tell you what, I better get my butt on the treadmill and stay on top of my workouts this week.
Coach, the special teams have been nearly spotless this year. First couple of mistakes we really saw were this past weekend, but consistently they've been in it. I mean, right now, best in the conference, punt coverage, fourth in kick return. Jack Olson, top 20 in the country, second Big Ten. How much do you credit that special teams unit for the team's success this season?
It's absolutely critical. It's complementary football. It's all three phases. It's really fun to see just the way that our specialists go to work each and every week. Jack's done an incredible job really leading that group. But Will Hulkyard, we had a mishap on that first, extra point. Such a credit to Will of just flushing that, and had a great game throughout the rest of the day. And again, something that we talk about with special teams is, there's not a single guy on this roster or any college roster that, walks into the facility day one and says, it's my dream to be the starting right guard on punt. That's my end goal. But the way that you go to work in terms of the individual work that you put into special teams, the effort you put into special teams as a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, is the direct reflection about how much you really care about the team, how much you really care about your teammates. I think of a guy like Braden Turner that continues to show up on special teams. Evan Smith continues to show up on special teams. So, it's your proving ground that builds the confidence. It's no surprise that Braden Turner had one of his best weeks of practice on defense this week. Did he get on the field defensively? No, but he's producing on special teams. For young men in our program that have dreams and aspirations of playing in the NFL, talk to anyone in NFL personnel about one of the most critical pieces to making a 53-man roster, and it's your performance on special teams. So the way that our group continues to embody effort and selflessness on those units is critical to our success.
Hollis made a long chase down tackle on Tyrone Tracy. As a head coach, what have you seen from Garnett and the DBs this year, and what was your reaction to a play that a lot of guys can't make physically or mentally?
We watched that clip about 4 or 5 times yesterday as a defensive staff, and Garnett was our defensive player of the week on defense this week, and some of it had to do with his interception and other plays that he made, but a big part of it was that effort play. It was an incredible play, even better effort, and again, when people are asking about who he is as a competitor, who he is as a player, very talented young man that has continued to improve, but even more importantly, I think his consistency has continued to improve as the season went along. His practice habits have continued to improve, and to put something like that on tape, it's not the first time. I mean, he makes a play against Iowa where he's chasing it down from the opposite side. I think there was a play in Howard, just flying to the football. That's what good defense is all about. That's what good team football is all about. That's a play that will stick in my mind for a long, long time of what it looks like to be a true team player, and really, really proud of the way that Garnett continues to improve and take strides to be one of the best corners in the country.
You talked earlier this season after Duke about kind of letting your competitive fire show more as a coach. There are several different clips of you on the sideline excited after great plays in defense. One that stood out was after the 4th and goal stop, jumping up and down a bit. So Frank, where do you ballpark your vertical these days?
Oh.
And then, is that kind of a more conscious choice you've made to be more energetic on the sideline since you've become head coach to kind of establish that tone?
You know, number one, in terms of my vertical, I promise you my vertical is not going to get me recruited anymore. Number two, you know, I think it was more of just an awareness of, you know, head coaching responsibilities, calling a defense, you know, really evaluating how I can better manage the game, the communication that needs to happen to do that, you know, leaning into everyone on the staff and starting to realize, like, hey, man, are you really being you? You know, are you really bringing your best to the table on the sideline? And I think post-Duke, it was an opportunity for me to self-reflect and realize, you know, like, hey, get out of your own way, stop overthinking this, and just show up as the best version of yourself each and every Saturday. And I think that's it hasn't been a conscious effort. I think it's been more of just a self-reflection of I just need to show up at my best every day for our team. And you know, I don't know what that looks like, but I'm gonna give our guys a lot of credit. I've told them they got to hold me accountable just like I got to hold them accountable, and at least once a game there's somebody coming up to me and checking me too, which has been really good. And I think that's just an embodiment of me being at my best.
You referred to eye rolls the other day. I would say, unless I missed something along the way, which is possible, that seemed like the first kind of version of an I told you so you even went toward. You haven't done that, is my point. But have there been, have you taken any snapshots of things you've read, you know, that doubted you, that dismissed you from a lot of us, that have stayed in your head and helped you throughout the season, helped you get out of bed and be as motivated as you can be? I mean, basically, did it appeal to you, the competitor in you, to prove people wrong?
You know, I honestly, that was never a motivating factor. And for those that looked at me that way, you know, from the outside looking in, I don't blame people for having that reaction. You know, I think to Skip Holtz and DJ Vokalek, you know, those guys entrusted this program and said, you know what, we're gonna come and help. And from the outside looking in, you know, it looked like there was little hope for this team to have, you know, I don't know what you want to call it, a successful season, a winning season. But I think what's been really neat and something I'm really proud of is those that were here with this group navigating everything that this group was having to make decisions on in the course of July, especially when the portal was open, is there was a confidence and a belief that this group could do something really special. But you couldn't know that unless you were here. And I think the thing that's been really neat is, you know, members of the media have had an opportunity to put on full display what this team has done. And we talk about writing a story. The conversations that we're having about what this group has accomplished just makes me really proud. And again, I don't blame anyone for having doubt in what this team could do. What I'm really proud of is the fact that regardless of any of that, our guys knew what was in this team and what was in this facility and what we were capable of, and they've worked their tails off to put themselves in the situation they're in right now.
Coach, it's starting to be kind of invite season for a lot of top prospects to certain bowl games, invitationals. Have you had any conversations with Jim Nagy at the Senior Bowl or anything like that? And are there any guys that you think are particularly worthy of those types of slots?
You know, Sam Mulford has done a really good job with our pro scouts that have come through for the facility. We've started to have conversations with our guys here on the team of just giving them feedback on the feedback that we're getting from those scouts. Specifically with Jim and some of those other bowls, there hasn't been any direct conversation. But, you know, the thing that I'm really confident in is there is a group of seniors in this group that, you know, at the beginning of the season may have not caught a ton of traction on that those conversations just continue to trend in the right direction. And, you know, whether or not there'll be some guys that have to make a decision on whether they want to come back for another year of eligibility. And it's just our job as a staff to get them all the information and make sure that they're making decisions that are in the best interest of themselves and their families moving forward. But there's no doubt that there's a lot of guys on this team that have really put some good things on tape that will serve them well in their opportunities moving forward.
Going back to recruiting, and even just talking about Carmine, where he's getting in a walk-on guy that's now getting in, just having a lot of reps, and then having just the rotational defensive line. And you talked about special teams getting in and make their impact there. Do you feel like for recruits that's incentive, even just to see how the rotation you can get in maybe earlier than maybe other programs, or even the special teams where you can?
I think so. I mean, I think again it reflects. If we're going to talk about being a developmental program, then our actions better align with that. I mean, the way that we rotate it with the D-line group, it's all about development. It's in some ways it's forced development. The way that we invest in special teams, opportunity to develop and build confidence, it takes trust. And a willingness to say, you know what, this young man might be a walk-on, but we trust him to go execute and play at a high level and help us win Big Ten football games. But, the thing we'll continue to lean into here is opportunities are earned here. And, if you possess high character, toughness, work ethic, there's going to be an opportunity for you here. And Carmine Bastone and P.J. Spencer are incredible. I mean, Ray Nairo, I mean, the list goes on and on of guys that have done that within this program and really carved out special opportunities for themselves.
Coach, regarding your run defense, red zone defense was amazing. Numbers, you can twist them any way you want to make them feel the way you want. Do you rely on a guy like Timmy McGargle, who has been with you since January, played here, was coached by Coach Fitz, was also here with other defensive coordinators like Hankowitz? Do you trust him? Do you go to him to help you figure out the opposition, how you're going to go against them defensively versus the run?
All you got to do is sit in on one of our defensive staff meetings. I'm leaning on Tim a ton. I'm leaning on Matt McPherson, Christian Smith, LaMarcus Hicks, DJ Vokalek. I mean, Logan McCormick, Duke DeRay, Chris Batty, the guys that our support staff. We have an incredible room, and it's a collaborative environment. A lot of really smart football coaches, great teachers, great mentors. Tim's experience playing the linebacker position, having coached it for such a long time. There's a bunch of guys in that room that view their role not just as a position coach, but also view it through a lens of, the play caller, which is, I mean, what an incredible asset, And I've always felt that my success as a defensive coordinator has been a direct reflection of having the right room of coaches, and then it's my job to create a collaborative environment, and then at the end of the day be the decision maker and have reasons why I make those decisions. But to answer your question directly, Tim's been a critical piece to this defense's, this team's success, and as well as the rest of that defensive staff. It's a great group.
I believe it was that Big Ten Media Day. You said that if you had more time, you would have hired a defensive coordinator. Now, permanent head coach with a full offseason, do you expect to move into that more CEO type of a head coach and give a play calling and hire a defensive play caller?
I will not be calling defensive plays next year. For Illinois and the bowl opportunity, I'll continue to keep that consistency. But for me to best serve the program as head coach, it's not in the program's best interest to. That would be selfish on my part. I have to entrust people that we hire to go do their job, not micromanage them, and that's something we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Not concerned about that decision right now, but for me to be the best head coach I can be, that can't involve calling plays.
would you like a coordinator to bring in and run your scheme in that 4-3 base, or would you be open to having a new scheme come in that maybe you have not run at your previous stops as a defensive coordinator?
The non-negotiables is going to be making sure that the scheme fits our personnel, fits our players, and there's got to be a certain level of consistency. You know, I think our guys have felt, and no different than when I stepped in. You know, there's certain things that we're doing defensively that still carry over from what Hank was doing. I mean, there's things that, you know, even last year that this defense was doing that we like situationally that we kept because it's just our guys are comfortable with it and it makes sense and it's sound. It's not a guys get themselves into trouble when it's, oh, this is my defense. No. This is our defense, and what puts our student athletes in the best position to be successful on Saturdays. That'll be the non-negotiable for me moving forward, is that whoever's making those decisions is looking through it from that lens. All right, thank you.